Press conference. The minister will read out the press briefing, and then we'll give you the time to ask a few questions. Mr. Ngafuan.
Thank you, members of the press, for this joint press conference. I'm honored to have with me the Executive Governor of the Central Bank of Liberia, Governor Saamoi, and the Commissioner General of the Liberia Revenue Authority, Honorable James Dorbor Jallah. We've called you here today to speak to you on an issue of great significance to our country. But let me firstly apologize for the delay. There were a lot of conflicts. Thanks for your patience. And I will read our prepared statement, and then we'll see some questions. Nearly a month ago, the Auditor General released the General Auditing Commission's Compliance Audit Report on the Government of Liberia revenue collection and reconciliation processes for the period 1st July 2018 to 31st December 2024. This audit marks an important milestone in the government's ongoing effort to strengthen transparency, accountability, and public financial integrity. Today, we have convened this joint press conference to provide context and background to the audit, highlight its key findings, and outline the concrete actions already undertaken and those currently underway by the government to address the issues identified and further strengthen our public financial management systems. In late 2024, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Liberia Revenue Authority, and the Central Bank of Liberia detected emerging discrepancies between revenue reported in the tax administration system and deposits reflected in the government's consolidated revenue account at the Central Bank. As custodians of public trust, we could not and would not ignore these concerns. We took immediate and decisive action. On January 6, 2025, with the full endorsement of the LRA and the CBL, I formally wrote the Auditor General requesting an independent investigation into the variances between the tax administration system that we call TAS, the tax reported revenue, and actual deposits as at December 31st, 2024. In that letter, I stressed the need for a full, impartial review to determine the source of the discrepancy and strengthen the integrity of our national revenue chain. The Auditor General informed me that the GSC was already in advanced stages of an audit covering the period 2018 to 2023, and that given the sensitivity and potential risks associated with such review, the GSC had been proceeding meticulously and cautiously. The Auditor General welcomed our request to extend the audit period through 2024, recognizing that including the most recent fiscal year was essential for a complete and credible assessment. Although we initially expected the audit to be completed by May 2025, the GSC requested additional time to ensure a thorough and professionally executed review. We respected that request because a credible audit requires diligence, independence, and technical rigor. The audit report highlights several critical issues that required immediate attention. Among the most significant findings were discrepancies between revenue recorded in transitory bank accounts, TBA, held at commercial banks, and the general revenue account at the Central Bank of Liberia. Discrepancies between revenue recorded in the tax administration system task and the general revenue account, GRA, at the CBL. Variances between bills and payments in the automated systems for customs data, ASECUDA, and the Liberia Integrated Tax Administration System, LITAS. Discrepancies between revenue receipts recorded in ASECUDA and those recorded in the tax administration system, TAS. Unauthorized withdrawals in transitory bank accounts held at commercial banks. Irregularities associated with reversal transactions in transitory bank accounts. Untimely remittances of government revenue from transitory bank accounts held at commercial banks to the general revenue account held at the Central Bank of Liberia. These findings confirm the existence of systemic weaknesses, reconciliation gaps, and operational deficiencies across the revenue collection and settlement chain. We have reviewed and endorsed the audit's recommendations. We have briefed His Excellency the President, and he has agreed that the audit report be forwarded to the Ministry of Justice and the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the institutions of government that have the requisite expertise to determine whether the findings in the GAC report point to fraud. And if they do so determine, to take appropriate actions to bring anyone found culpable over the 7-year period of this audit, anyone found culpable of defrauding the government, to bring them to justice. Meanwhile, even before the finalization and release of the Auditor General's report, we began taking measures to tighten controls and make our system more robust and reliable. These actions include the following. The MFDP and the CBA worked with commercial banks to revise banking agreements governing transitory accounts and revenue sweep timelines to strengthen accountability. Commercial banks are required to submit daily sweep reports to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the Central Bank of Liberia to improve monitoring and reconciliation of government revenues. The LRA deployed the automated system for customs data as a CUDA at major customs and border locations to automate customs processing and reduce manual interventions. The LRA is expanding the Liberia Integrated Tax Administration System across regional tax offices to strengthen domestic tax administration and improve revenue tracking. The LRA upgraded ASECUDA to version 4.4 to enable direct electronic integration with commercial banks and the Central Bank of Liberia for automated transaction level validation and reconciliation. Meanwhile, even before the finalization of the report, quarterly reconciliation, some of the measures include quarterly reconciliation exercises among key revenue institutions to identify and resolve discrepancies on a regular basis. We are also taking measures to integrate LITAS, the Standard Integrated Government Tax Administration System, SIGTAS, ASECUDA, and FMIS, the Integrated Financial Management Information System, transitory accounts, and the general revenue account at the CBL to support real-time, transactional level reconciliation across government revenue systems. We are also in advanced stages in securing the services of some reputable private sector entities with expertise in revenue systems, tracking, and reconciliation to help us address some of the weaknesses and vulnerabilities in our revenue generation and accounting systems. These entities will help us develop technology solutions and accounting will help us develop technology solutions that strengthen reconciliation processes and address systemic gaps. One of such entities is John S. Molu LLC, whose founder and CEO is the former Auditor General of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable John Saamoi Molu II. We deliberately deferred finalizing these engagements until the audit findings were available to inform the design of the solution. With the report now published, those processes will now proceed. We also recognize the historical significance of completing this exercise and commend the Auditor General and the audit team at the General Auditing Commission for undertaking such a complex audit despite the inherent risks and challenges involved. Today, we commend the professionalism, diligence, and courage demonstrated by the GAC audit team throughout the process. We reaffirm on behalf of the LRA, the MFDP, and the CBL our unwavering commitment to full cooperation as the reconciliation, reform, and accountability processes continue. Signed, Augustine Kpehe Ngafuan, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, James Dorbor Jallah, Commissioner General, Liberia Revenue Authority, and Henry F. Saamoi, Executive Governor, Central Bank of Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. We'll take a few questions, and we'll start with Data Observer newspaper. If Data Observer is not ready,
okay, so let me just Honorable Minister, my name is David Yates, and I work for the Data Observer newspaper. Okay, I listened to you, you read the press statement, but I'd like to know, since this report came out, the AG has been on attack by the CDC names like Daros Do, Benene, Olba. Is this report really credible?
I didn't get you said it. The Auditor General has been what?
I said, since this report came out, the AG has been on attack by the CDC names like Daros Do, Benedict Kolba. So I'd like to know whether this report is really true.
Well, we live in a democratic country, and people are free to look at reports from various vantage points, and it is not in my province to determine how others react to GAC report. What we have determined to do as custodians of public trust, we have decided to act. That's why when I came in the middle of September 2024, when the Controller and Accountant General, Honorable Erwu Nete, who sits right here, and my team. Let me introduce my Deputy for Fiscal Affairs, Honorable Myers. When it reported these persistent variances, we decided to act. We consulted the NRA and the CBL. They themselves were very concerned, and that we decided to act. So on January the 6th, 2025, we wrote the Auditor General to investigate this. Little did we know that he was already in the advanced stages of the audit. And he said, and we agreed that the audit would be comprehensive. The audit that they had already begun on the revenue system that will include 2024. And we're happy for that. He's, I think about a month ago, finalized and published a report. We have started, even before he released the report, I just delineated some of the actions, the tightening, the leakage closing activities that we've been taking, some of which have led to the uptick in revenue, domestic revenue generation. So we have decided to act. We are contracting services of externals to come and drill deep in this. We are investing in some systems. We are upgrading the systems to increase what we call interoperability of all the systems, to enhance revenue generation, tracking. So for us, we are acting. The report of the Auditor General is flagging things that we cannot ignore. If others intend to ignore, we will not ignore it. So we are acting. Thank you.
The news.
All right. Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, and to your team. My name is Prince Sa, and I report for the newspaper. I want to know, how do you respond to people who will say that the purpose of this audit is to wage hunt people from the past government?
Well, you know, I mean, the fact that the audit of a period, the 6-year period, was underway, and we asked for 2024 to be added. 2024 was the period that the new government came in. We asked for it. The Auditor General will have concluded the report to end at 2023, the reporting period. We asked for the report to be extended to 2024. So it's not a 6-year report, it's a 7-year report. And we are saying that this report is being referred to the institutions of government that have the expertise to determine whether some of the findings border on fraud. And if they do so, whomsoever is found culpable, whether in 2024 or not. So people will always speculate things. Our duty is to do the right thing. And we continue to be rectilinearly focused on doing our work. So there's a 7-year report. We are concerned about government revenue. We want to close all the leakages. When we close the leakages, we will get more money to invest in hospitals, to invest in our roads, to invest in education, to invest in our civil servants. That is our concern. So far, the actions we've taken without even this audit have been yielding fruits. That's why we are now talking in 2 years, 3 months, and let's say almost 4 months now. We're not talking of a revenue growth. 2024 was $738 million. We're not talking about $1.3 billion in terms of the budget. We're not talking about supplementary budget. We are supplementing, meaning we are adding. Unlike in the past when people got very used to recast budget where appropriations were slashed downwards. We take pride in the fact that we could provide additional resources that can enable the Ministry of Defense to recruit more young people to enter our army. We are proud of the fact that we provided more resources for more volunteer health workers to be put on the payroll to improve our, doctor or health worker to patient ratio. We're happy that more resources have been provided for more volunteer teachers to get on payroll. We are happy that we are doing more, although, as I usually say, the more you do, the more pressure you are under to do. So that's why we are on. So it's not people will speculate whatever they want. Our duty is to do our work. And our work we are doing.
Spoon FM.
Minister, thank you. My name is Haji Masari. Come from Spoon. With the audit report and the figures that have been given in the public, they are very alarming, and that's just one of it. And my direct question to you, with your predecessor now being in the middle of all accusations, even though it's been cleared, from the standpoint of the court, do you sometimes sit and be worried about what is happening, and this might haunt you to tomorrow if the right things are not done?
I was in this job before. I know my basic principles. I don't veer from my principles. The thing that worries me, when I sit down, you see this, when I look through the window, I see West Point. I leave from here most of the time, 10, 11, working for the Liberian people. How to make West Point and other communities better. Now we're talking about through a project that government is going to be providing counterpart funding to protect the beaches. I say down the thing that concerns me, I don't like to use the word worry, is that how do we give more opportunities to young people? That's why we put money in the budget for the cadet program that we launched in Banga. More than 1,100 persons have been put on the cadet program, 6-month internship across government institutions, even United Nations entities, private sector entities, and some of these young people are going to get jobs. What occupies my attention is how do we speed up the paving of the road to Zwedru. And every day I'm talking with the public works minister, I'm getting good data. What consumes my attention is how do we ensure that the road from Salaye now, because we are reaching to Salaye, to Vonjama, proceeds as quickly as possible. We have mobilized all the funding. Some of you have been invited here. Our rains have been, I actually, some of you that know how to stop the rain, maybe we'll contract the services. How do we move fast? We've got the money. We are stopped a little bit because of rain. The Party Ford agreement. The President and President Bio broke ground for the Bow Waterside Toll, practically Douala, or Simple Bridge. 4 lanes from that point to, I think, how you call the place? Clay Junction. All the way to Bow. You see me downgrading. Thank you for upgrading this project. And then the road to the Medina Rubber Sports. Some of you from Cape Mount, I see you asking me questions. Our brothers from Nima can easily go to Nima, and every time they're having weekends, including my deputy, we want to be going to our own counties and capital. That concerns me. And so I have my basic values, and my basic values don't change. No position, changes me. So if you want to know what, quote unquote, worries me, is how we sprint. We are doing well, but at this point we need to sprint. So we are putting sprinting strategies together. So that consumes my attention.
Okay. My name is Topa Yanti, a report for OKFN. For the fact that the Fiscal Authority and the Monetary Authority are
here for this press conference you announced that this report will be taken over to the Ministry of Justice for an investigation with regards to in the LCC. How soon are we expected to see this rolling out?
I think they will get the report this week with us. As I said, we are not the competent authority to determine whether anything in that report points to fraud. We are not. The competent authorities will review. Our job is to close the leakages, is to take the right actions to make our system more robust, to increase the revenue. So that's what we are doing.
Thank you. My name is Edwin Dodo from Punch, and like my colleague said, to see the key actors of the economic management team at a news conference raised a lot of concern. And how alarming is this report from the GAC?
Well, look, NN reported variance in our system requires our action. So some of the concerns that were raised, we've already taken some actions. Some of it involved delay by commercial banks in sweeping revenues collected at those banks into the consolidated account that the Comptroller Accountant General, this man has one of the, we talk about headache in government, he toast a lot of loads, you know. He always is watching the consolidated, why is there? Because it's from the consolidated we pay. So it transits, it must hit. If it delays, it affects us. There was some delay, but actions have been taken now. Thanks to the governor, he could even elaborate on that. You know, that problem of those cited is practically redundant. Some of the things that have been cited, we've already taken some actions, but there are other things that we must do and we will do. Maybe the governor wants to give some details on the sweeping.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. So what we've done with the commercial banks in terms of the sweeping is that we've made the process much more robust. So the agreement between the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank, and the commercial banks in terms of the sweeping and the LRA that the minister mentioned, what we've done is that we've given them a day plus 6-7 hours to sweep, and if they do not sweep, we move in and debit their current account. So what the processes that we put in place is that every day the Comptroller General will send us an update of how much has been collected by each of the commercial banks for the previous day. And our banking department will watch the system to make sure that the previous day collection by the commercial banks has been swept by 2 p.m. If at 2 p.m. the commercial banks have now moved those funds, our banking department will move in immediately and debit the current account of the various commercial banks. So that system is working. The commercial banks are now very compliant. They are ensuring that the daily sweeps are happening on the following day. Before the close of banking hours, they make sure that collections for the previous day are swept into the general revenue account at the central bank, and that process is actually working very well right now.
Maybe the Commissioner General will elaborate on some of the measures that have been taken at this level.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. Two previous questions that came was to the effect that whether the Auditor General's finding in this report, whether they're genuine, and another question was whether this is not a gimmick at witch hunting. Let me just explain some of the challenges that we had in the past. We have collection points around the country, and we have an automated system that is relying on internet. Because we don't have internet infrastructure across the country, our officers around the country, and in many of these locations, there are no commercial banks. So they will receive the money, and it will take sometimes a couple of weeks before we will know at headquarters how much money was raised. Now, these are some of the things that the Auditor General flagged in his report, which are true. But these were things that we took measures. If you remember, we had a series of press conferences. We had acquired 50 Starlink devices. If you remember, back in 2024, we called a big press conference to announce to the country. And what those Starlink devices have done is, they are the ones we're using now in 2025 to roll out in all these different remote locations. However remote the location is, we are currently rolling out, and we've done it substantively now. This year, we should be finalizing all of our location, all of our border posts. So the findings are indeed authentic, but these are things that we observed before, and they were really concerning because it impacts on revenue collection. Another situation is that we had a system where our custom system, the version that was in effect at the time the Auditor General reported, could not integrate with the commercial banks. So if you are an importer, and this is public information because many people, some of you probably have done importation or you know custom brokers, the process will be in a digital system until it gets to payment. Then somebody has to go pay to the bank and come back with that information. Now, because of that overlap, now that means from the time the thing left from the system, go to manually pay, come back, between there, there are too many problems that the Auditor General identified. So what we are doing now is we're upgrading that system so that the system can integrate directly with the commercial banks. So the whole process will remain seamless. When it comes time to pay, you can either pay directly from your bank account, or you can use your debit card, and that way it is recognized immediately in the system. So these are improvements that are currently paying off, because that's why you see the revenue numbers has been increasing. If you remember in 2024, we had a press conference towards the end of the year. We announced to you all that we had exceeded our target of 690 million by another 9 million. Yeah, domestic revenue alone. So we collected almost $10 million more. Last year, we announced to you several times that our domestic revenue target was 804 million, but by the close of the year, we have collected around 838 million. Again, more than $30 million, more than what our target was. This year, our target is 1.2 billion. You see the progressive increase in domestic revenue. And the reason this is possible is because of some of the efficiencies that we are currently benefiting from due to the improvements that we've done within the system. But it's important to note, this is not to say that our work is finished and it's day up. No, the challenges still persist. And that's why in 2024, when we noticed these anomalies, we requested a GAC to go in and do this in-depth analysis. You see, ladies and gentlemen of the media, if we will solve our country's problem, we have to be prepared to expose the problems, and then we can take time to solve the problem. And not to be trying to hide. This is not about pushing blame on one government, because this is a system problem that has existed for a very long time. If we don't own up to it and identify it as a problem, it will be difficult for us to find a solution. We do have other solutions lined up, like the minister pointed out, but we needed the Auditor General to come in and pinpoint, or so as we are targeting our limited resources to solving the problems, we can be solving the actual problems that exist. So we will continue to make the improvements. And one of the things we've done, I think many of you probably already know, we have a public-facing dashboard. This is the first time, in fact, many times when we demonstrated other countries around the world, people are saying they've not even done that, even advanced countries. You can now go to dash.lra.gov.lr, and you can see our collection in real time. You can see it in real time as we collect, well, it's near real time. When we finish with all the automations, because we still got processes that we haven't finalized yet, when we get through all the automation, you will be able to see it. So even yourself, you can put it to test. You can pay tax, $5 tax, and then you look at the system and you will see the number changing. That's where we want to get, so that as taxpayers are paying their taxes, they can be able to see it in real time. So we will continue with the improvement, because with these improvements, we'll be able to ensure that every revenue generated can go to the consolidated and it can benefit our people there. But we need to be able to admit and own up to the problem if we want to sincerely solve the problem.
Okay, we take one final question. Okay.
Since the CG mentioned the operating of systems to enhance the revenue collection, one of the issues that we faced at the central bank was also delayed revenue recognition. We had stations wherein the central bank was collecting government revenue, and the system was not real time. So there was what I meant at the central bank called buffing. So all of the revenue is collected today is buffed, and it's kept and it's fully posted sometimes the next day or the following day. And that will create a problem in reconciliation. So what did we try to do? Firstly, we look at our own system, the CBL, the core banking system. It was seriously outdated. So we move ahead, we're spending over $4 million to upgrade the core banking system so that we can put in all of the levels of controls that are necessary to protect the revenue of the country. You will recall when we took over the central bank, there was an incidence of fraud of almost $1 million. I started work on the 1st of August. By the 5th of August, there was an attempt to move $1 million from the government's account to a commercial bank. But due to the vigilance of the commercial banks working with us at the central bank, we were able to stop that transaction and the transaction was reversed. Why did it happen? Obsolete system. One staff was able to go in and was able to process a transaction. Went against all of the controls because the controls were already obsolete and they were not working, and the staff was able to effect a transaction of $1 million. And that was a serious situation because that would have affected government revenue. We were able to do that, to stop that transaction, reverse it. So what did we do was to upgrade the system so that we can put back the controls in place. So after that upgrade, we engaged with the LRA that we even wanted to deploy our live system. And the Commissioner General said, no, they didn't even want a live system. What they wanted was to integrate the central bank core banking system with their system. So now revenue is collected in real time. Today, I just had a meeting with my team. We are extending that to all of the collectorates. So I asked them to review the contract with the Q&A firm that we have, so that those APIs that are now deployed at the LRA will be deployed at all of the collectorates. The Freeport of Monrovia, the Business Registry, the Temple of Justice, the Ministry of Lands and Mines and Energy, everywhere the government revenue is being collected, we will make sure that revenue is recognized in real time and goes into the general revenue account of the government of Liberia. So we will not have these delays. So these are the enhancements that we are making to all of the systems. The LRA is doing her part. We are doing our part at the central bank also. So I just wanted to provide that context in terms of what enhancements we are doing to the systems that we made in place that were obsolete and that will have caused us a lot of revenue leakages. So thank you.
So lastly from my end again, the public would like to know, Mr. Minister, whether is the same audit report of the revenue consolidated account rumor that led to Kpehe Lama death and Peter Apple.
Well, I must be a little somber when you call the name Albert Peters and Gifty Lama. I didn't interact with Gifty, but I think some others here might have. The reason I'm somber is that in my past life here, Albert Peters was working at UBA, and I knew Albert Peters to be a man of integrity, a man of character, and a top-notch professional. I had come at the Ministry of Finance, and you all remember I said that I had come to jar the river. And I alone could not jar the river. I needed men and women to help me in that effort. So I hired him, thanks to some of the partners, UNDP and others, to bankroll his salary, because the government at that time could not compete. He left private sector and became the chief internal auditor here at the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Peters assisted me and the government to set up the, now we call it the IAA, the Internal Audit Agency. We started as a secretariat. Mr. Peter was my lead person in hiring the manpower. That's the time we recruited Mr. Paul Collins as the head and the late Batem Niswa as the deputy. And Mr. Peter will later on migrate and become one of the key professionals at the IAA. And later on, I think what I know is that he worked for the LRA in his capacity as one of the professionals at the IAA. At the LRA, one of the professionals at the IAA. We've lost a great person, and some of the others that have passed, we've lost them. I wish them peace wherever they are, and their families. Our duty is to make sure that we take the right actions. I want to commend the Auditor General and his team for the audit, given the potential challenges. I don't know what happened. All I know that a top professional, a great Liberian, along with the others, are no more. And may their blessed souls rest in eternal peace. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Minister, if there's final words for the press before we...
Well, distinguished members of the press, thank you for this. I want to commend you for being engaged with government. You are what we call the fourth estate. And we see the traffic in your pages, in your publications. And sometimes you don't get all the facts right. Sometimes you get the facts right, but it's part of it. Our duty is to help you to be able to report on economic issues that are complex and challenging. What we are doing is that we're going to be capacitating and resuscitating this Economic Reporters Association to build capacity. Today, the governor and myself and the Commissioner General were at the university campus for the launch of the Liberia Economic Student Hub. We want to develop the competencies of young people to be able to engage on some of these complex matters. We want to encourage economic literacy. So we'll be taking some actions as a way of empowering the press. We are very happy with what you do. We don't have to agree, and we live in a democratic system. And by the way, I've said to my communication director that I don't want us to owe any media entity, and to the extent that any of you media colleagues have payments, services that you perform for government and that things are dragging, let us know. We'll take action because you're a small business. We're not doing it for you alone, but it's one way we can empower your business. Media is also a business. And we want to be able to see some of you growing into media tycoons. So she's here. So far, I think we are on course. We are paying the debt. Some of you government owe for the ages. We've been paying. I think we'll soon pay again.
Yeah.
This week?
Yeah.
This week, she says. This week. So we want to be able to clear that. The historical debt that we inherited. We'll clear that and make sure that we're on the same page. So thank you very much for coming, and whenever we have, issues that we want to put out there, we'll call you to help us in the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.